Janine Sews. I'm Janine and I talk about sewing for a woman over 50. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a couple of recent makes, and I'm going to talk a little bit about something that has to change in my wardrobe. First, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to have to change in my wardrobe, and second, I'll share with you my makes. If you just want to see the makes, there is a timestamp down below. But I really hope that you'll hang with me through this first part because I'm going to ask for your input and help. So my wardrobe has become an issue. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a story that'll help you understand where I am and what I'm thinking. When I'm in the sewing room, I watch a lot of YouTube videos on the TV. I watch sewing videos, but I've also started watching styling videos with people who are well-versed in how to look your best. These are people who work with ready-to-wear. They're not sewists. And I found a couple that I've enjoyed. I'm going to put the links down below, but I found two particular stylists that speak to me, maybe to the woman who's a little bit older. The first one is Marianne Lecour, and her YouTube channel is The French Chic Expert. Marianne is French. She lives in France, and she has typical French style, very elegant, very understated. And she's posted hundreds of videos. I think she must have been on YouTube for years, but she's posted a number of videos that talk about current trends and how a more mature woman can incorporate trends into her wardrobe to look current without, as she says, looking like mutton dressed as lamb. And she will also talk about how you can not look dowdy and look your best, still look current, but classic. She wants you to be very chic. The second YouTuber is Personal Styling, and that is Melissa Morel. She's a personal stylist, a paid professional personal stylist in the UK. And what's interesting about her videos is she, in addition to talking about trends and capsule wardrobes and things like that, she includes her real clients in the videos. And she focuses on every shape. So it's not just people who look like they'd be in a magazine. I found one of her videos that I really enjoyed, and that was someone who had an apple shape. So a lot like my figure, and they had a belly, and she gave a lot of tips and demonstrated really clearly how you could style your clothes or make different choices in clothes so that you feel really good in your clothing. So those two stylists have been on my mind a fair bit lately. And I've enjoyed what they've said, and I've been thinking about that as I dress and as I look at patterns. So this is all leading somewhere, I promise you. So we went on a vacation last week, first time in a long time, and we went on a cruise to Alaska. So I had to pack a fair bit. I had to pack things for different weather conditions, and I had a horrible time packing when I was going through my closet 2 weeks ago. Because, as I've said before, I don't necessarily have a lot of clothes for cooler weather, but also I don't have a lot of things that I love enough to take on vacation with me. I've got a lot of holes in my wardrobe. I have plenty of fun, cute tops that don't work with anything else. And when you're packing to go away, you want things to, so you can mix and match and everything to coordinate really nicely. I definitely don't have this. So I wasn't super thrilled with everything that I took with me. And then when we were on vacation, like everybody, we took a ton of pictures. And I would sit in the afternoon and I would look at pictures, download things, decide what to delete. And I was looking at pictures of myself, and on several days I just didn't like the way I looked. And it's because I didn't have the right clothes. And I felt like what I was wearing, things I had made me look old and dowdy. So this actually kept me awake at night, because I put a lot of time and energy and money into sewing things and picking out things that I think will be good on me. And I'm making a lot of mistakes because I'm focusing on the one-off garment. I'm focusing on the cute fabric. It doesn't necessarily work with anything else. Or the tops that are great and are really long, but they can't be worn underneath a jacket because I have short jackets and long tops. So this led to my great realization, and that is, for the next while, I need to focus on building a wardrobe of basics. That's it. I have lots of crazy printed fabric in my stash, but right now I need to stop and say, what kind of basic tops, pants, jackets do you need that you're going to sew? And this is where you come in. Because I know most people who watch my videos are women of a certain age, and you're interested in clothes and you're interested in sewing. So what I would love to know is, what do you think are wardrobe basics? What are the basics that you have? What are the things in your wardrobe that are your go-tos that you put on all the time, that you can grab at the last minute and throw it on and feel really good about yourself? Because I don't necessarily think most of us live within the rules that a lot of stylists talk about, where your basics are the classic button-down white shirt, the little black dress, the dark dyed skinny jeans. Most of us don't necessarily live in those. We have basics that we love that make us feel good. So I don't want to follow a prescription that some stylist came up with. I would rather hear from you what the basics are in your wardrobe that you love, whether you've sewn them or whether you've purchased them. Because I think so many of us at this age, we're looking for a lot of the same things. We're looking for things where we can feel really good in them, and we still want to be stylish. Most of us grew up with the same trends, so there might be certain things that we still love. I know a lot of people my age like high-waisted jeans because we wore them in our teens and we loved them. And wide legs. So that's why I'm asking you for your input, and I hope that you will comment and leave your ideas. The things that you love might not be anything that I love, but the things that you love, because I'm just really interested to know what other people think are wardrobe basics. And that, I'm going to look at that, and I'm going to do some thinking and some looking online and what I've got, what I love, what I hate, and then decide on some new wardrobe basics that I'm going to sew. I'm still going to sew some crazy stuff, some wild prints, because I have the fabric, but the focus is really going to be on maybe starting to curate a wardrobe a little bit more. So that's what kept me up. I think it was a good thing for my brain to be away for a week and just kind of stop and think about what the next sewing project is going to be, the broader overall goal for the next year or so. So I really look forward to your input. Okay, my most recent makes. I made a couple of things with wild prints. Of course. You might remember a couple of months ago, I showed you several patterns I was planning to work on for spring tops. Made one of those, and then I went and bought a new pattern, of course, for the other top. First one is what I'm wearing right now, McCall's 7323. This is a top with the asymmetrical piecing on the bias. And I have made this many times before, and that's this top right here. And fabric is a double brush poly from Fabric Mart that I bought a couple of years ago, super cozy. Most of the time I've made this in ITYs. I think I prefer it in an ITY because it drapes better than this does. But anyways, I had one little problem with this because it's got this asymmetrical line on the front. So when I cut this out, I cut out everything except for the lower bodice piece, and then went to match it and realized that this stripe on this fabric is not even. So the stripes would not match up and look beautiful like this. So what I wound up doing was, I'm going to show you in a little video, I wound up cutting a stripe of the fabric. It starts here and it goes down, so that I've got a stripe in between the vertical stripe and the horizontal stripe. This wasn't actually my idea, it was my husband's idea. I brought him upstairs to show him what I was doing when I got stuck, And I asked him if anybody would notice if the stripes didn't match, and he told me with no uncertainty that it would look awful. So I had to come up with a solution, and I'd already cut out most of the pieces, so this is what I did, and I think it turned out okay. I do still really like this pattern. I'll use it again. It's kind of a TNT, but I've kind of hacked up the pattern to bits, so I'm going to buy another copy of it. I like it that much. So that's McCall's 7323. This is a fun, casual, overly bright, doesn't go with anything top that I'll be wearing with jeans this summer. The second top that I made was inspired by something that I saw on Instagram. A fellow Calgary, Canada YouTuber and sewist, Megan G Makes, had posted a picture of herself wearing a blouse on Instagram, and it was so pretty. It was so beautiful on her, and I loved the fabric and I loved the style. I sent her a note and said, gee, was it tough to alter? And she said, oh no, it comes with a full bust option. So I went and I looked at the pattern. This is a company that I've heard of and I've not used their patterns before. It's Love Notions, and the pattern is the Rhapsody blouse and dress. And I made this version here. So it's got elbow length sleeves with elastic, a yoke in the back, a few little pleats up in the front at the shoulders, and a tie. When I had been out shopping about a month ago, I noticed that there were a ton of tops like this in Winners, which is the same as TJ Maxx in the States and TK Maxx in the UK. So it's very on trend without being super trendy. So I decided to buy the pattern. Indie patterns are sometimes expensive, and this one of course had to be printed. It was 4 print shop pages, so it was a big pattern. And I picked up a piece of clearance rayon challis from Fabricland West here in Calgary, and went about making the pattern. The instructions are quite extensive, maybe a little bit too extensive for me. However, they include some really nice things, like how to do a burrito method for the yoke, and also doing French seaming for the side seam and the sleeve seam. So they give you everything that you need to create a very well finished garment. And I love that it's got the full bust front option, so I didn't have to adjust anything. Now, the only thing I did wrong with this particular project is sometimes PDF patterns, the lines aren't super dark, and I happened to miss the line for the top of the front bodice sleeve, and I wound up cutting, I don't have the piece here, I wound up cutting the front bodice pieces about this much too long because I missed the line, so I just had the margin of the paper there. So that created all kinds of problems when I was sewing, of course, because the sleeve wouldn't fit. So I wasted probably 2 hours trying to sort that out. Eventually I did. I figured out what I did wrong. But the lesson for me, and if you're not used to working with PDF patterns, next time I work with a PDF pattern, I'm going to take a highlighter and I'm going to highlight all of the cutting lines plus the marking lines, because sometimes they can be lost because the lines aren't quite as dark. So that's just a little tip for me. If it helps anybody else, great. But a reminder for me that I have to do that because I thought that there was something wrong with the pattern and I was completely blaming Love Notions, but it was all my fault. So the top is going to have heavy rotation in my closet this summer. Even though it's a big print, it is a nice summer top. And something I was thinking about when I was working on the preps for this video is maybe this pattern would be a nice choice for a basic if I made it up in cream or navy or something like that for summer. So this might be a pattern that I can use when I'm developing some wardrobe basics for the summer. The fabrics recommended for this particular pattern are, let's see here, lightweight wovens with drapes such as crepe, rayon challis, voile, lawn, peach skin, 100% rayon, gauze, silk, and chiffon. So it's a nice pattern. I'd say give it a try. I think that it's a style that's nice for older women, You can make it longer if you like, if you want it to cover a little bit more. Unfortunately, I did pre-wash the fabric and it shrank a little bit in length when I washed it the second time. So I'm gonna have to be pretty careful with it. But I think I had a nice combination of fabric and pattern. So that's the Love Notions Rhapsody blouse and dress. So of course I am still gonna be sewing. I'm really gonna try and focus on some basics so that my wardrobe is in better shape, because I'm getting awfully tired of standing in that closet every morning for 10 minutes while I look and say, I've got nothing to wear. Sewing was supposed to solve all of that, but it has not. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. And again, truly, I want to hear what your basics are, what you think wardrobe basics are. Thank you again for watching. I hope you're well, and I will see you soon.